Record. Okay.
That's it, I can.
All right, we're gonna call to order the select board meeting for November 17th. Meeting is being recorded. First item on the agenda is sign a letter of support for fiscal year 26 community transit grant programs. So Lori MacArthur wrote a letter to show support for the Council on Aging, getting a community grant, community transit grant, for fiscal year 26. Do you have a chance to read it? Yeah, big, yeah. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it's just showing our support for Council on Aging getting this much needed done.
Doesn't go to Connecticut. I'm just telling you, 90% of our calls are gonna be in Connecticut.
It's to buy a van.
Huh?
It's to buy a vehicle.
But if
I
you
don't
use
think
a
they can.
Massachusetts grant, I think Connecticut, if I have a certain grant, you can't go to state and certain grants. That's
And
why,
how would they enforce that?
Yeah,
probably, I don't know, they should check the calendars, I don't know how they, but I know that's part of it, that's something to think about when you do it. So,
And you're sure that's the case with this?
I'm
Particular
almost
grant?
positive, but I will double check it,
yeah, we're looking for.
That would really be a bummer being in the tri-state area,
absolutely.
you know? I can see if you're in central Texas. And about 12 hours in any direction.
I would motion to approve the letters for the fiscal year 26 community transit grant.
So
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Review and sign short-term rental renewal. So we had a resident calling Gillingham, 10 South Beach Plain Road. Just reapplying for their certificate. Janie said she hasn't checked the taxes yet, but I would motion to approve this renewal, contingent on the taxes being paid.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Steve. How's it working out where they were mandating sprinklers? Have we done anything on that?
They're not making the towns do it, so it's town by town based on the position the town wants to take. So it might be something we have to review. We don't have an awful lot of them at this point.
Right.
But they're not pushing them at this point. Yeah, we could ask.
just because I feel like we should definitely,
Well, you can't really until we do that, right? Well,
but
All right, review and award furnace replacement bid for Old Town Hall. So we only got one bidder. It came in just slightly under budget, not by much, but just a little bit. We did have, Mirabito was the one who applied. We did get two bidders for the tanks, which I'll show you right here. Mirabito was 4,500. John Ormsby was 4,249 for the tanks. So essentially, we're removing the oil tanks and the oil furnace and installing new propane units. 96% efficient, which could in the future be subsidized with one of these guys if we wanted to, if we ever got solar on the building. But for right now, it'd be a much better system. Did you have a chance to read the dates?
I did.
no,
You think they could, that's gonna be a condensing unit,
Yeah, well, it's hot air, so it's, I don't think, I'm not positive.
yeah, well, if it's 96% efficient, it's condensing.
Yes,
Is the oil tank gonna be removed?
two of them, yeah.
They're gonna be, we're not worried about any remediation issues there.
No, they're gonna do it. So they'll pull the oil out of the tanks. And I think somebody who's licensed has to haul them off site.
And propane tanks gonna be underground.
They're not gonna be underground because of the backyard isn't big enough.
Okay.
So they're just gonna be three tanks against the backside of the building. The idea is that the pod that's out here, the construction trailer would go to the backside of that building. Recreation and planning board and whoever else has stuff in the back of the room and put it all into that construction trailer. Then when the old oil tanks are gone, we're gonna put up some shelves and just put everybody back in the room.
We put a fence around the propane tanks for safety.
They just go against the building and they shouldn't need it.
So I'll worry about it.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I would motion to approve Mirabitta's bid for the heating system replacement and old fuel system removal.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
technically it's Morabito.
Rabbito. And then I would
Just saying.
motion to approve John Ormsby bid for 4249.39 for the tank installs.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye. They were the lower bid. It's the only reason we separated. Got some wind going on up there. Alright, so review and approve preferred vocational technical school program. So Tim Lee was in here last week. He talked to us about our ability to designate preferred schools for our kids to go to. Essentially, what we're trying to do is have Gray Barrington be first, Taconic second because it's closest. And last case would be Smith Vocational if they're the first to carry the program that we needed. So I would move to motion that the town of Sandisfield designate Monument Mountain Regional High School as its first preferred vocational technical school. Designate Taconic High School as its second preferred vocational technical school. And in the event that neither school offers a program aligned with Sandisfield students' area of interest, designate Smith Vocational and Agricultural High School again, as the town's third preferred vocational technical school.
Second,
All in favor?
discussion.
Sure.
That covers the majority of all classes. I mean, what does monument cover at this point?
So I think
Auto?
Jeannie attached it. So auto, horticulture, early childhood development, and possibly woodworking. Well, we still have woodworking.
That would more programs out when the school comes online.
Yeah, there's supposed to be more coming on, right?
So that's Smith and that's Taconic. I think between the two, Taconic and Monument come pretty close.
Yeah.
But Smith is gonna be on there for electrical and plumbing too.
Okay.
Good.
So Steve, just one suggestion. The language that you used when you went from Taconic to Smith, like, I would use that same language after monument, like, if there's no programs there, and then the second choice is Taconic, and then third choice, just so it's clear to them, like, what we.
Yeah, what it says is in the event that neither school offers a program aligned with Sandfield student interest.
I'm saying that kind of language, I think, should be between monument, too. If monument doesn't offer the program. Then Taconic, and then, just Smith, like I like that language between Taconic and Smith.
Sure.
But I would just suggest putting it between monument and Taconic too.
Yeah, it would be make that adjustment. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we go back a little bit?
Yep, which one do you want?
Number 3.
Review and sign short-term rental renewal.
This is we only got one out of, was it 18 or something that was supposedly in town?
That's a clerk question. Yeah, I'm not sure.
What do we do about that?
I'll have to go back to zoning enforcement, right? So that'll be the building inspector.
We had more than one initially,
Sure.
but we don't have any of them reapplying.
This is the first I've seen of any of them. So I think you're right. I think we could send it off to ask the clerk to send off reminders.
I think I need to end up close to both on if you want to.
There you go.
Is Douglas on? Douglas.
Here, I thought he was always sleeping.
I'm here.
Yeah, actually,
Can you hear us?
Yes.
What's your take on the short-term rentals?
Overall, my understanding, I've spoken to several people in the area. It's down like 70% during COVID. So I nobody else followed up, go after them. My guess is that there is a lot less renting going on right now. But yeah, if we're following the bylaw, people who are renting should be registering annually.
Now, does your office send out reminders, or is that something that we haven't crossed the deadline for yet?
So the last time we worked on anything with this, we were working on setting up the application through Permit Eyes. And working in conjunction with the building department to get these applications processed and signed off on. And maybe Amanda knows something, but to the best of my knowledge, I don't think it got past that point.
Okay. Amanda, would you like to say anything else?
Yeah, that's pretty much where we left off. We had given a list of the properties to the building inspector. We haven't necessarily followed up. Initially, there was, I want to say, 8 who actually filled out or who started the paperwork process and filled out things. But I think we only ever fully approved 2 or 3, and we found multiple other properties while looking on like Airbnb and Verbo. So we've given that list to the building inspector. I can certainly pull that list again and bring that back up. I'm happy to do so.
Thank you. Well, if that's the case, maybe Laura can help with the reminders. Or
Do the town clerk's offices in other towns stay in control of short-term rentals, or do they have another department that does it? I'm just curious, how do other towns do this? Because it seems like it's an imposition to me for the town clerk's office, but I don't know what offices would be running it in the other towns, and I was wondering if we ever looked into that.
Sure. No, I haven't. No, I just know that I'm pretty sure that's the way the bylaw was written, is it gave them administration authority. But we can certainly help out.
And
Uh,
Janie, I apologize ahead of time, but I know many instances where the town manager does it.
Dominic, would you like to say something?
Hey, thanks. I just wanted to ask a question on the fees because I know that there are violations and fees associated. So at what point do fees start to get sent out? Or I guess violation notices get sent out? And who does that?
Well, it would be during the annual inspections, I believe.
Well, who is the one who confirms there's a violation?
Board of Health Building Inspector. One of them's got to do with septic, one's got to do with how to build.
But how do they go by every Saturday at 10 a.m. and
I would
check
assume
to
it's
see
gonna
if
be
there's a new
both.
license plate in them? Well, that would be the only way
Sure.
you know that it's a short-term rental.
So
Yeah, I think you have to check Airbnb as well for those listings
Yeah,
that are up.
Airbnb and VRBO, but a lot of times you rent once through Airbnb and then you rent direct. You don't pay the fees. Nobody says anything.
Yeah, and in that case, they wouldn't be paying the taxes either.
Right.
Only the transactions that go through Airbnb or VRBO, those ones, those people's accounts will automatically debit the tax to come to Sandisfield, regardless of whether they register with us or not. The problem is, and again, I'm speaking bigger picture. The problem is that a lot of people don't, like John just said, don't do all of the transactions on those websites. So then it's sort of just the honor system. The other thing is the people who did register are, I believe, the ones who are sort of making the most, like they actually are making a significant amount of money in town. We just have to follow up, but there are not that many who even did the full process, like Amanda said, to begin with.
Well, they likely didn't complete the full process, and I'm not throwing shade, but there's no consequences right now, none. Just I started. Nah, I'm not renting anymore. You may be or you may not be. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the town clerk's office can hand over information, but it doesn't enforce the bylaws. We're not an enforcement.
Who do you suppose is the enforcer? Do you say the
If
bill?
it was, well, I mean, it's a zoning bylaw, so I mean, we could send letters, we could send notice, but I don't believe the clerk's office is involved with collecting on violations.
That's true. Carl?
So I have there's two issues we're talking about here. One is for the people that registered before and haven't registered annually like they're supposed to. I just want to confirm that we're going to send them letters and say, if you don't complete this by this date, you're done, right? You're not operating legally. But relative to these people who never registered, if we have reason to believe that, they're renting and haven't, I think we should just send them a letter that says, look, here's the deal. If we determine you're running illegally, you're gonna be fined this much money. So if you are, you better correct that, because if you don't, and we can prove that you're renting, you're gonna be fined.
I think it has to do with what's in the bylaw. I'll have to read it again to understand it better.
I don't know what's in the bylaws, Steve.
But any of these action items, if we're gonna make any adjustments, it has to be done to the bylaw, especially for
Okay.
enforcement.
I understand that, but we do have in the bylaw that they have to register annually, so. With dog licenses, if you're not in, you can be fined, and we'll get a letter saying if they're not in by this date, you'll be fined. You don't put in your chapter application on time, it gets denied, so I think we just gotta be consistent about that at least.
Sure.
But Steve, to speak to what John was saying about driving by their driveway every Saturday, and it was kind of a joke, that's actually true, because if you actually want to enforce this, the bylaw itself is very strict. I'm not looking at it right now, but it's like, I think after the third offense, you get your privilege to short-term rent revoked. But let's just say hypothetically that happens. How do you actually stop somebody from renting their house?
Well, and here's for instance, we're driving by on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday. Wouldn't really work, because what if it was a short-term rental and they allowed different family members weekly to visit the Berkshires for no charge, because that's totally legal.
When this got passed originally, it was more about the idea that the people who are gonna do it legally are gonna do it legally, and the people that aren't do not. If the town wants to bear the financial burden of having a Airbnb police drive around, which seems like it might not be fruitful, I mean,
It'd be hard to prove.
do we just make sure that the people that register do it again? That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that do it and then are gonna tattle on the ones that don't. And I think that would be the case.
That's a good point.
Hey, Dominic?
Hey, yeah, I think half of the bylaw should be ripped out and should have never been written in the first place. But I do think that if we're going to have this bylaw, we should prioritize enforcing those penalties. And I think that we, shouldn't just let it slide because it's too much work. We either change the bylaw and make it easier for the town and more realistic, which is what I advocated for way back in the day, or we just enforce what's there.
Yeah, I think that's the discussion, is how do you make of this bylaw that we have written enforceable?
Chris,
thinking out loud, is there a method to go back to, say, Airbnb and say, listen, this person did not register, therefore they are no longer allowed to advertise on your site until they do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so if they're on, if you're linked up with Airbnb, the only way you can run through their program is if you say it's in and that they collect the tax and send it to the town.
Right, so what I'm saying is if you send them a list and say, this person did not re-register in accordance with Sandisfield laws, therefore they are no longer allowed to rent.
Well, I think we would go directly to, because then we could prove it. That's easy to prove. That fines all that's easy. If they're using there's a gazillion different rental sites. It's the ones that have a pile of rentals that are just emails and a calendar, a repeat schedule, no.
Right.
You know.
Are there any records from the inspections? They're supposed to be doing inspections, fire inspection. They're supposed to be doing.
The bylaw is very sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
The bylaw, when I read back through it while redoing Collins, it's very unclear on how often every inspection needs to be done. So if someone's going to look back at the bylaw, it might be helpful to think about readdressing that. It doesn't specifically say that everything is required annually. It does say like the septic, I think, has to be pumped every 3 years after the initial time. But it doesn't say how often water has to be re-inspected. It doesn't say how often the fire department has to inspect, or the building inspector.
Well, I don't have it in front of me, so I think we're gonna have to read it and circle back.
Yeah,
while I
that's-
read the issue. All right, so the next item is Zoom identification policy. So it was brought up, everybody wants to know, everybody that's at the meetings for the minutes. We only have the names of the people in the room for the most part, so we want to make sure that people on Zoom are letting everyone know who they are. So the purpose of the policy is just to do that, to understand who's participating. It's quite common for school committee, planning boards, select boards to do this. And we should be getting everyone's names for the minutes.
So we're gonna go and ask them at the beginning of the meeting, like, who's this person on Zoom?
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna ask them to just put it up front, and then if they don't, we'll prompt them.
So have them display their name.
Yeah.
I think we shouldn't put somebody on the Zoom unless their name is displayed.
I think it's fair when we're
Well,
supposed
we
to.
got one right there, iPhone.
Yeah, I don't think we should allow that without a name.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And we do have one person tonight that is showing showing the whole name, but that's the idea. Just make sure we know who's on.
Is there any legality, or I don't know, do we have any fight to say that, to enforce this?
Yeah, if they don't want to comply, we don't have to let them onto the meeting. I can double check that, but I've been to plenty of meetings where this is enforced in other towns.
Or we could switch over from Zoom to Teams, and Teams, in order to enter the meeting, you have to type the name in the box.
Well, this would be affected by Zoom, which is Microsoft Teams, Skype, Google Meet, all of them treated all the same way. So I would
Okay, cool.
motion to approve
And who's enforcing
who's enforcing this.
Yeah.
Well, you just right there on the Zoom call,
it? Mhm.
unless you want to trade.
Yeah.
You can actually just take a picture of the screen, then you'd have it quite nice.
Well, the problem is the generic ones.
They just don't let them in
Right now, they're allowed in them.
right now, to me.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a tech to help us out with an easy way to just they either do it or they don't.
Yeah.
All right, so motion to approve remote meeting identification policy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Department board committee update.
I have a question.
Sure, Bob.
There was a misunderstanding, and I just want to see if I'm wrong or if the person who called me was wrong. At the last meeting, we had G-Man here about the gas station.
Yep.
And somebody called me and said, why are the selectmen telling me he can't do anything until May? I said, I don't believe that was the intention. He can sign up now for a special permit and do his business, but in May, it was strictly to have the voters decide if we're gonna have any kind of a tax incentive. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because there's been some confusion and people are spreading it around.
No, you can apply for a special permit.
That's what I
anytime
thought.
once.
Anytime he's ready, so it's
We
not,
just recommended that he gets a business model together and all the.
that's right,
documents,
so, but you're not stopping him from applying. Thank you,
I didn't.
thank you.
Chris?
So I'm gonna do 3 departments. So the first one is the ad hoc EMS committee. We have not yet met. Part of that is just because there's just so much going on with the fire department right now. I figured we'd try to get 1 or 2 things off the plate before we really try to take on another one, but it is not forgotten about. Emergency management, communications seem to be up and running pretty well with the state, so, and then I know, myself, Steve, and Janie have been doing pretty good on kind of low, not inconsequential, but the lower risk stuff, some of the wind updates that came out a couple of weeks ago. Kind of has some dry runs, just to kind of see how communication is gonna work. I think for the most part, it's working pretty well at this point. So we should be up and running, especially now we're coming into winter time. And then the chief asked me to do the fire department as well. So fire department operations is going well. No significant issues have come up in the last couple of weeks, with apparatus. The inspection for OEMS is tomorrow. We expect that to include the new ambulance to put that in service. We expect that to wrap up, the complaints that we've been receiving since July. And, more or less just finish the regulatory and, reapplication process because our license is also up at the end of the month, for just normal operations. Personnel wise, we're holding steady as far as our applications and our personnel, our numbers. We've had numerous people hanging out. Cam is actually technically a volunteer today. So we've got people that are sticking around. CC is 18, so she is now a full-fledged legal fire department member and operator. And then we've also promoted Lieutenant Vinny, and then unfortunately Josh is not here. The two lieutenants, one is kind of overseeing the EMS and rescue. The other one is going to see more of the fire department. And we've also asked Brian to take a lead role as our chief engineer for the apparatus for training and just observation of the trucks themselves. And then the last one with the walkthrough of SFDI, obviously that finally came out in the paper. And then at that meeting, we also abated them due to ongoing fire code restriction violations that we've been seeing around the building. Everything from holes in the wall and fire spread problems to uncapped and exposed wires, illumination for exits and things like that. So they had 30 days from that day to address a plan. Not necessarily have to actually make an action on it, but they have to tell us what the plan is. Any other questions for him?
Just a comment, of course, none of the code violations were reported on in Berg Street.
Correct.
Not one?
Not one.
Or was it stated that they got the violation list, but correct.
Everyone good?
After I have something to.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Have you guys all seen the new access road on 57 across from the fire department?
I have not.
We're having some type of problem with access road. This is an access road. People are using the access road to kind of skirt the issue. They don't want to do a driveway. I was kind of told on that access road, he was doing that because, you know, when I said, why don't you just do a driveway? His answer was, and put that 30-foot apron. And it was like, it's not 30 foot, but that's okay. And when I went up, I had a complaint on that. And when I went up, I told him, he had told me, I said, are you permitted to do this? And he said, no, but he had talked to the DPW. DPW said, you didn't get permission, but you know, you've got something coming, just finish it and do it. And it was like, okay. And I said, well, I'm not gonna argue with the DPW, but I don't know what you just covered. I don't know where you just dug. I don't know if you were in wetlands. And it's all covered up and invisible and things like that. So I told him, don't do anything more. Needless to say, by the next day, he finished the whole driveway. It's the guy who's got the house right across. He's moving and I guess he sold his house in 2 weeks. And the issue I'm saying is it looks like a driveway. It acts like a driveway. And his thing is, no, it's not a driveway, it's just an access road, and he's got his equipment up there, and he's got stone up there, and he has his stuff there. And my thing is, when I'd like to see the word access road be tightened up, either, you know, give them so many times. It says, I think it says intermittent. I think we need to tighten it up. This is the second time on New Hartford Road. There is a home right across the new one that's being built on 156 New Hartford Road. And they went in across the street and did the same thing. They went in, they put some type of driveway, they started putting fill. The issue is, what are you covering? Why do you need the fill? That's our concern. And when I went there, that went from the contractor there said, oh, they're putting in a driveway and a parking lot. And then when I went back, I said, well, if it's a driveway, you need a permit. Oh, well, it's an access road. And it was like, did you get the permission to do an access road from DPW? My thing is, who's in charge of monitoring these things and to save people's time? I mean, if this was a permitted thing, where can I look up from, the same thing with the other committees? Where do we look up to say, oh, he was approved? But the bottom line here is, DPW can approve it. But when they start going through wetlands and filling in wetlands, now I have a new problem.
Sure. Well, it's supposed to be a collaboration between DPW and conservation. Conservation says no water, DPW says fine, do your access road. They do them for logging, they do them for temporary spots just to do construction, and then they build their permanent road somewhere else. Our problem right now is DPW chief changed, so the person who may or may not have given authority, we'd have to check the emails and see if he did, and if there was any contingencies on that access road request.
He said he did not.
The new guy or the old guy?
The owner. I said, do you have permission to do this? And he said, no. I said, did you file anything? And he said, no. So he was just saying, I want an area. I forgot to do it in a timely fashion, so I'm gonna do. I mean, it's pretty, he's got heavy duty, he's got equipment up here.
It's a real driveway.
That's a driveway.
It's a real driveway. It's
And
not.
in about a year from now, it's gonna be a real driveway. and
Well,
he's
yeah,
gonna
because
get-
it's the house was for sale with all the land, or you buy the house and he keeps this lot. So now he kept the lot
Yes, he
and he
did,
had to move all his stone to the lot.
right.
So that's a driveway.
No, he's calling that, his answer was,
Well, you
It's
just gotta get a curb
not-
cut.
it's not
What's
a
the
driveway,
definition of
because
an
there's no
access road?
dwelling. I'm not going to
Yeah.
a dwelling.
You don't have to have a.
And our problem is, there's a lot of people that build a home.
I still think you need a curb cut.
There's a lot of people that build homes in a slow fashion, and they put the driveway in today, and 5 years from now, when they get some money, they do the other part. But my thing is, like I said, in about 2 years, it's gonna
Once
be,
you put a culvert in, you need,
he's got a pretty good culvert there.
oh, I know, that requires a curb cut.
Well, like I said, he's calling it an axis, and it's gonna be an axis.
Yeah, it's the zoning enforcement officer. I think you have to circle with Vinny and find out how he wants to address it. You can bring DPW in too, because being a new member, he should be tuned in to what the bylaws are and see what the process looks like moving forward. But if he's in violation, he's gonna be fined, or obviously be asked to change it. I'm only learning about it now, so I can't really speak to what it is, but it looks like a driveway.
It's like a driveway.
Smells like a driveway.
Yeah.
You take shots, like.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that. Do you want this back?
No, you can throw it away.
Any others? Town manager updates?
No, on vacation.
Mentally. Last week, myself and Steve met with KP Law to review the STM warrant. So since then, I've just been putting together some information to get ready for that meeting on Friday. Myself and Dominic will be meeting with KP again on Thursday to prepare him to moderate that meeting. As a reminder, the meeting will be held at the garage, UPW garage at 6. Steve and I also met with the interim police chief last week to understand current standing of the department and the priorities that should be addressed. I'll be posting the police chief position later this week. So I sent a draft job description to the board earlier today, looking for just another set of eyes. I would specifically like you guys to take a look at the compensation for the role. That can be discussed further in another meeting, or if you guys want to email me separately your opinions. Or potentially we could talk about it at a work session with the interim chief, as he also would like to meet with the whole board at some point, just to review those priorities again. The shuttle bus was delivered last week. I've been working with the insurance company to get it on the policy and registering the vehicle. I'll update the job description for the driver, and I'm also planning to reach out directly to 2 candidates that had previously expressed interest in the position a few months ago, but weren't comfortable utilizing their own vehicle for that transport. the town clerk's office did receive a couple very large public records requests. One totaling 8 pages. So myself and Amanda have been navigating, getting estimates for how long the request is gonna take to compile. So we can accurately assign a fee. So today we did meet with a member of KP Law to review the request and understand our obligations. So we're actively working on that. I met with a soon-to-be resident, so he's actively building, a home here last week with our building commissioner. So, he expressed interest in getting his building commissioner's license and eventually take on that permanent role here in Sandisfield. So Vinny's been working with him closely. And so in that time, while he was getting his qualifications and for a period of time thereafter for training purposes, Vinny would stay on as our commissioner, but potentially we could bump him to alternate and then have a new commissioner. He seems very enthusiastic about it, so I intend to just pursue that option a little further. So long as all of you guys can make it, I'd like to schedule a work session with the DPW super to go over his priorities in chapter 90 next week, probably Monday at 5, so just an hour before the regular meeting. That works for you guys?
Really turning into my deer hunting.
Oh,
Okay,
all right.
let's show up.
Thank you, I appreciate
I
that.
assume.
And then my last update is just that, yeah. It's just that the noise reading, done by the Board of Health Sanitary and Jason Reckon did prove that Sama is now in compliance with their special permit. That said, Jason did encourage at the last Board of Health meeting that the abutters seek a professional noise reading. So the abutters did reach out to me to make that request and specifically ask that we get a reading of the baseline ambient noise measurement before March, when Sama goes back into production. So I'll be coordinating with Sama to hire a company within that time frame to conduct the reading, as well as reaching out to them regarding their hours of operation, because another one of the complaints received that they're regularly working outside of what their special permit indicates as hours of operation, which is 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I'm gonna reach out to them about that as well. And there was some additional concerns raised by the abutters regarding enforcement, which I'll need to direct them just to the building commissioner, their zoning enforcement officer, or, yeah. But that is, those are all.
Do you have a question? What do you forget?
Yeah, go ahead, Carl.
But then, is the posting you're doing for police chief, is it consistent with the role that Faye's playing today? Or does it go beyond the role he's playing today? That question makes sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a draft job description. The job description, I think, I mean, Fahey's been doing a fantastic job of doing it. I think it might go a little bit beyond what he's currently doing since he is working interim, but the hours that Fahey is already dedicated is the hours that I would expect to be dedicated. And he's doing basically all of the scheduling and the LTCs and everything. So for the most part, yes, maybe a little bit further, but not.
Good,
No.
because it seems to me like things are going well there. I think things
Yeah.
are going better than before, so if he's willing to continue, I would hope that he would have a chance to be considered if he's willing to continue. And I just wanted, that's why I asked about the description. Does it go well beyond the role he's
No,
playing?
I don't think it goes well beyond the role, and he would be more than welcome to apply for that position. We do need to post the position.
Jenny, I'm sorry, I missed, you were talking about an extensive public records request. And I kind of missed, do you mind repeating that for me so I can?
Sure, I was just saying that, the town clerk's office, well, Amanda as the records access
Okay.
officer received a couple extensive public records requests that are gonna involve a team effort. It's gonna be some of the treasurer, myself, Amanda's office as town clerk, the accountant, the fire department. All of these departments are gonna have to work collaboratively to get all of these documents ready together. So we did meet with KP to just go over that, to understand our obligations of some of the requests for kind of fraud, stuff like that. So
So are these public records requests or are they related to discovery requests from the lawsuit?
Public records.
So they're not.
No, no relation.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janie. I'm sorry. I've missed some.
No worries.
pieces. I wanted to make sure.
Jane, when you said 8 pages, you meant the request was 8 pages.
The request was 8 pages.
Wow. Yeah, that's. Yeah, okay. got
That's a
it.
couple documents.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there a fee per page of the document you have to provide?
So there is, so we can charge an hourly rate for however long it takes us. There is a cap at $25 an hour. So for instance, like our treasurer makes more than $25 an hour. So for her to dedicate the time, there is gonna be like a loss there essentially. So we can petition, I forget what the department is called, but it's the State Public Records Office, to increase that fee amount, but it is capped right now at $25 an hour. But we can charge however long, we can estimate how many hours and then charge that.
Steve,
This works slow.
No, it's gonna be a serious interruption of town business.
That's a shame.
A very, very, very significant
Yeah.
interruption. All these people are very busy. But it's unfortunate, hopefully it's important.
Steve,
Yeah.
I will say that in my time as the records access officer, I dealt with a number of what I would call maybe strategic public records requests. Those would be public records requests where simply getting the public information is not necessarily the main objective. And anytime we had an excessive or what appeared to be an excessive request, we would estimate how long it would take, multiply it by $25, and that amount needs to be paid up front. And to date, I've never had anybody continue the public records request after they find out how much it's going to cost. Having said that, this case might be different, but I just wanted to give you some data on sort of the last 4 years. We've never gotten past this is how much it costs point on large requests.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
Chief Rilla.
I have a question. So when we go through and do this, hypothetically, if we'll say it takes 40 hours or 80 hours, when that money is remitted, does that go into our budgets to compensate the payroll line items, or where does that money go?
No, it's, yeah, it would go into free cash, so it would get receipted into, I think we have a revenue account, I mean, not a revenue account, a public records account, so it would go there.
Fun all the way around.
That can't be spent until free cash is certified.
Correct.
Everybody good?
Yeah, it's good to bill them beforehand, Jenny.
Yeah, no, I think that's a requirement, that you don't start compiling records until payment is received.
Select board updates.
Oh, wow.
I got a little one, just, I've been doing some volunteer calls with the ambulance department and just Douglas has been speaking in depth about it, but to see the camaraderie and the union up there of all the members being present and working together, it's refreshing to see.
Thanks, Bob. Well, last week I successfully was in a select board meeting for 15 minutes while in a deer stand. Pretty good, your buds. Okay, and then let's see. Oh, I just want to mention that our DPW has been behind the 8 ball for as long as I can remember, probably back to Eddie Briska, with Planet. Eddie did a wonderful job. They were out last night pre-salting the intersections, and they were out this morning actively sanding at 5:15. And I know because we left our shop at 6:30 and New Marlboro was just getting started, Otis was just getting started, so that's a win. Yeah, it's a real win. Now, the negative Nancy's out there in the world will say, let's see what happens come March, but whatever. I suspect it's gonna be really good. You're gonna get behind on a big nor'easter for sure. Nobody can keep up with that. But to just be on top of it was a breath of fresh air. I met with the boss dog SFDI today. I'm not gonna say it was a waste of time, but we didn't get anywhere.
Waste of time.
We talked a lot. For like an hour. We had all kinds of ideas and there's just no give. There's no give on either side. So see what happens on Friday. Bottom line. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the details of it is just whatever conversation. I did say the next time we meet, we better be having coffee because otherwise, what's the point? And that's it. It was an hour I can't get back. Yeah, I tried. I even had some good ideas.
I'm sure they listen well.
Chief Grillo.
John, I just have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like in your personal opinion, along with your business experience, that you've exhausted every road physically possible to be able to try to come up with a deal before a special town meeting?
Yeah, today was it. Our text exchange over the weekend was basically like, let's meet this week. Let's try to have a deal to bring to the town meeting. I said, if you can come to a meeting or we can schedule a meeting and you're prepared to negotiate, then let's do it. And we met and we're not even, I'm not gonna say either is right or wrong. We're just not even in the same state. Right? We're not even close.
Your meeting
yes.
today was the last ditch effort again, you guys putting out your hand, try to resolve the issue.
Even so much as to offer, instead of voting for gift, however it says it on the warrant, eminent domain, I suggested maybe just a outright agreement on the purchase price.
They won't even do that.
I may have made an offer. Hypothetically.
Sure.
And no. It's just no.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear and make sure that obviously.
Yeah, no, I'm done until we're just gonna see where the chips fall on Friday.
That's fine.
Huh?
That's fine. All their leverage will be gone after Friday. And I can't wait.
Yeah, so unfortunately, like I said, I'm not gonna say it was unproductive because it was actually a lot more. We were able to just talk to each other instead of bark at each other for an hour. So it was clear that we're just so far apart, not gonna close the gap.
So are they more concerned with control than the money? Because if we're offering to buy the structures, then the only reason they don't want us to buy the structures is because they want to retain control.
They definitely want to control the personnel.
Yeah.
I'd say something. I think it's important for all of us to understand this goes well beyond the fire station, public safety. This is about an entity that has undue leverage over the town and ability to cause them big problems because of the ownership of that stations. And yeah, what they're moaning about now has to do with decisions that have been made by the town regarding the fire department and public safety. But there's nothing to stop it to going anything they disagree with, anything decision this town makes that they disagree with, they could apply that same leverage to cause us pain in attempts to get that decision turned around. So I think one of the things we have to underscore at the meeting on Friday, this is about whether the people, the voters in this town, have in the democratic process of this town, are going to be allowed to function normally without this group that has this leverage because of the ownership being able to screw with us every time they don't like a decision that's made.
Another thing that we did talk about was, I mean, it was we were all over the place, but it was about the perception of corruption, right? And I said, why don't we meet and we can look at the books of SFDI, we can compare what SFDI is up to and what good they're doing for the department and what the town is doing and how can we be a team effort. I mean, was definitely, I'm like, it's just transparency, you know, and so, and that wasn't shot down. That was certainly, he's thinking about it. And then another thing was, I said, why don't you invite me to some of your board meetings? I'll sit there and be quiet. I won't say a word. I'm not looking, I don't have time to argue with these folks. I really don't. But if it's gonna be productive, I'd go sit and listen and really see what they're up to. Um, and so he also is thinking about that, which is good.
Barbara?
I would just like to say, and again, the rumor mill is rapid, and I understand that.
No,
Yeah, but I understand the SFDI board is changing their board. And they're gonna come up with a new mission. That's gonna involve safety and something else in the town of Sandisfield. Can we go on record now or as soon as possible in saying that no matter what their mission is, that the town of Sandisfield wants nothing to do with it? We don't support it and we don't want it to do anything with any of our town departments or any of our town assets or anything to do with their town. If they want to do a mission where they want to go and line their pockets and go to Hawaii, let them do it. But I don't think the name of Sandisfield, the town of Sandisfield should have anything to do with anybody who's on the past board or the current board. And I think we need to make that very clear.
So there's things you can do through bylaw to make sure that people can't use your likeness, the crest,
Yes.
the name in any respect. It's something we'd have to do at the ATM. If there's a motion for it, if you want to ask the select board formally, you think it's a good idea, get a few people that agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason not to put it on there. If there's a general concern, as far as, companies, charities doing this, my understanding it's a volunteer effort and they can do it if they want to, whether or not we accept the donations, that's up to us.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, charities aren't supposed to be political. We already see that's bullshit. Excuse my language.
Steve, in the disassociation letter, I remember the language in there. It wasn't just they couldn't use Sandisfield Fire Department. It went beyond that into Sandisfield, the town of Sandisfield.
Sure.
So I think that might already be covered in the disassociation letter, actually. Mike, do you remember the exact language?
Yeah, so the legality behind the disassociation letter was to remove the endorsement and sponsorship. So as of right now, especially with the board signing and accepted it, Janie also wrote one for the town as well. So the fire department and the town has severed and ended the relationship with the exception of the existing lease. There is no relationship whatsoever. It would have to be renegotiated and brought back to the table and be voted on before that happened. But the language is very, very clear that there is zero relationship. They've also been notified as part of that letter that they're fired with name change because it's deception. It's too close to misrepresentation in the fire department. So I don't think as a municipality, when they change their mission, is really too much we can do as an IRS thing. I think that taking every step that we possibly can to end the relationship in its entirety. So if they do something moving forward, I really don't know if there's too much we can do about it. At minimum, we know that we're not the beneficiaries of it.
okay, but what I was saying is if they come and, they revamp this board and they come up with all these wonderful ideas and they really start raising money and blah, 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 and then say we're still in this relationship. I thought we got divorced, but maybe we're getting back together. And they raise money and I'm just hypothetically saying they want to sponsor a training that costs X $10,000 and all the firemen are welcome to go.
We'll stick it up the nose.
I would say that
I'm not saying that's gonna happen. I'm just saying, well, what if it did?
I would say that if that happened, it would be the town's responsibility to be able to vet them as a credible vendor.
Yep.
And if the town chooses to use SFDI as a vendor or a source of income or recognize them as a charitable organization, it's up to the town, right? That's
Okay.
not necessarily me. If on a personal level, and speaking for the department, if SFDI is able to prove good intentions, now if it truly is a charity to try to benefit the town,
Yep.
With different players.
Different players that aren't aligned in puppets.
Correct, absolutely, right, like, I mean, a completely different walk of life. And it really did act as a charity, again, if the town supported it. We wouldn't be inclined to deny any type of help that we receive.
But John, there's a huge if there in the sense that this organization.
Oh, I'm just looking at this with a giant open mind,
No.
like the size of the universe.
When the stations were built,
Yeah.
there was fundraising that occurred there. Beyond that, there's no fundraising. There's nobody on the board, nobody that's been added.
Oh, I know.
That really has any significant.
Yeah.
And until, my definition of public charity, their primary mission is to raise funds. Okay, and put it to good cause. And this is what the Great Barrington Firemen's Association does. They do nothing but raise money. They ask the fire chief, what do you need money for? They go out and raise the money and then they give it to the fire chief. They don't try and interfere. They don't tell him what he should spend the money on. He says, here's what I need money for. They go raise it. Until this organization adds people to the board, they got ability to go raise funds. This is a moot discussion.
For sure.
This.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it. See you Friday.
Everybody else vote.
Well, I also think that charities in town that raise money for the fire department should give whatever they raise the money for to the fire department. There should be no charity that keeps what they raised. Why would they keep it?
I agree with you completely. I mean, there's some notion of reserve funds and they have some investments.
No, I'm talking about
We have
fire
a-
station
We have a board
equipment.
member
Oh,
on,
yeah.
maybe she can explain.
One thing that I think is an interesting fact, when I first got here and we identified the efficiency, one of the things that I worked with Janie on was asking SFTI for about 25,000 donation for gear. The town to contribute another 25, so 50-50. And that was declined.
Yeah, we formally asked for the turnout gear too. Any participation whatsoever.
Yeah, there was a hard no.
That's hard no. All right, topics not anticipated. Nobody brought anything. Review and vote to approve minutes of the meeting. Not sure if we have any in here. View and sign purchase orders. See, we got warrants and bills.
Ah. That's a good use of money. You see that? Say it.
This is just a reprint. That's that section added on. We'd already voted for these minutes.
Okay, so we just got to revote.
Oh, this one's already done.
Vote to or motion to accept and release select board meeting minutes from October 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We all set this one? Where did we sign it? I thought we voted on first.
Yeah, you're fine. Mhm.
Fun.
Don't do it.
All right, I got a PO from the highway department, Northern Tree Service. 1 day work. On Smith, or on the Lower West and Smith.
Yes, this is the PO that got held last week. I wasn't here to speak to it, but just for clarification, the previous DPW super, he put the tree bids out in FERCog, which is something the town has never done because all of the bidders are from far away and extremely expensive. So we usually use local companies to do this. The contract is also procured incorrectly because I was not the signatory on those contracts and neither of you three were. The DPW superintendent is not an authorized signatory for the town. So we are gonna go through with hiring or just for this one particular project, since we do have a valid contract with them, get it done and over with. And then,
It's not very valid if
What?
it's not very valid if our signatures weren't,
well, I'm an authorized signatory for the town.
right, but you said it was signed by
David,
David,
yeah,
who
it
was
was
not.
not, yeah,
It's not a valid contract.
It's about $1,500 more per day than the other tree company charges.
I mean, if you wanna say
And I
no,
bet
no
you
to even this
They're
one,
gonna get half it done. No, I think it's a good experience for the town to go through. I'm gonna go count the stumps.
sure. And this will be the last time we're gonna put the bid out. I
Yep.
sent it to Steve because I can't. I assume you'll be one of the bidders, so I didn't wanna show it to you, so I sent it to Steve to review.
Now I got a number to go off of.
And I'll put that out, so.
All right, so. I would just motion to approve the PO for a day's work by Northern Tree Service. All in favor?
Can I say one thing here? There's so many people in town that do this work, like John, Bob Tarzak, Roger Kimberly. There's enough people where I think limiting the bidding to local folks is okay. You know, I mean, it's not like there's only one person in town who's gonna get the contract, right?
No, you're right. There's a whole bunch of people. I think it's just making sure people see it.
No.
That's the bigger deal, is just making sure the word gets out. So, yes, motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
I turn that.